keep them. We want to keep them engaged. So we give the salary, 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 salary. But ultimately, then the people with the most potential are lower end on the compensation scale, and they're at highest risk of leaving. But then when we do the bonuses, we invert it and we create short-term incentives for those who are further down the scale. And it just creates the wrong kind of incentive because people are motivated by employers are motivated by their future performance. I'm not just because I did a good job yesterday doesn't mean I'm going to want to do a good job tomorrow. But by creating incentives around salary, you're creating that stability where I'm thinking about my future with the organization and sticking around and developing my skills in the context of the organization. Otherwise, I'm going to develop my skills outside the context of the organization for my next job. And that's where we have to shift our thinking, which is hard because, again, companies for years have done it this way: reward based on history and bonus based on potential. And that becomes something we have to focus in on differently in this world where it's much more of a mosaic of talent.
It's interesting because we want people to work differently, but a lot of our systems, structures, and how we reward people haven't changed. So you're asking for one thing from your leaders and managers and employees, but they're being rewarded in an old way of working. So it's like, well, what do you want me to do right now?
We're
uh,
asking for loyalty and not providing it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Before we wrap up, parting piece of advice, and then where can people follow you, Sofian? So what will be your parting takeaway for everyone, and where can people connect with you if they want to say hi and reach out?
Well, people can connect on LinkedIn. Um, my last piece of advice is, um, there's a lot of talks, best practices. Knowledge is it's so available everywhere right now. Sometimes I always say it's not about, you could take the best practices of all the best companies and have all their playbooks in front of you. That doesn't mean you're going to deliver it. So practices are great, but oftentimes it's the secret is how you cook it yourself within your own context. So as HR leaders, it's all about bridging the external world versus understanding your context, understanding your people, understand what works for them, what may not work, understand your constraints, and being able to actually reinvent your own practices. I think we are so obsessed about trying to look good and save the face, and well, the competitor is doing it, so should be good. Oh, I've heard that somebody at Google has implemented this, so must be great. And being kind of intellectually quite lazy about actually diagnosing what needs to be done for a company. And at the same time, you all have the data available. You can talk to people. You can just bring them on board. So I would always start with, unlike a lot of people, I start from within. What is our problem? How we can fix it? And I use external help whenever I need, not the other way around.
Love that, Matt.
Really practical. Transcribe this episode, throw it into artificial intelligence,
Yeah,
and ask it to elicit the top three insights in the context of the way you're working right now. I'm
yeah,
doing so much more of that these days because there's so much that Sofian shared over the course of this last 35 minutes that it's like I have 5 ideas banging around my brain. And the challenge is, am I going to operationalize any of them? I hope so. But the best way to do that is by taking the information, putting it in your context, and then seeing, develop one action plan. Do one thing differently. Because anyone who tells you they have this thing figured out is not telling you the truth. We're all struggling with this right now, all trying to make sense of this current reality. And it starts with incremental changes. And to your point, Chris, looking at the systems and structures we have in place, and do they support this new way of thinking? And if they don't, that's a good place to start.
yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna be, otherwise you're gonna be banging your head against the wall, wondering why this is not working. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. A big thank you to Sofian for joining us and on his weekend where he is right now. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and perspectives. Make sure you take a second to follow him on LinkedIn and connect with him. Also, a special thank you to our friends at Joveo for helping us put this panel together. There's a link wherever you're watching or streaming right now. There's a link in the comments to download a new report on the top 10 best recruitment practices to attract, source, and engage and hire talent in 2024. Make sure you grab a copy of that. Super practical insights and perspectives for you to implement. If you enjoyed the discussion, make sure you hit the bell notification icon on LinkedIn. Many of you probably have never even seen that before. There's a little bell on the profile, whether it's on Hacking HR right now or HR Leaders LinkedIn profiles. That way you'll be notified next time we go live. So make sure you hit that. Apart from that, wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.
Bye, everyone.